Hello, good evening. The footballer Ched Evans says he's overwhelmed with relief after being found not guilty of raping a 19-year-old woman in a North Wales hotel room in 2011. The former Wales international was originally convicted the following year and served half of a 5-year prison sentence before being released. But the conviction was quashed in April this year and a retrial was ordered. In a statement read by his solicitor outside Cardiff Crown Court, the 27-year-old said he wholeheartedly apologised to anyone who might have been affected by the events of the night in question. Well, let's get more now from our correspondent Thomas Morgan, who's been following the trial for us and is outside Cardiff Crown Court for us tonight. Thomas.
Well, after a 5-year battle, the saga is finally over for Ched Evans. It all began on the 30th of May in 2011 when he and his friend, fellow footballer Clayton MacDonald, had sex with a 19-year-old woman in the Premier Inn in Retrial. She said she was too drunk to consent and alleged that they had raped her. There was a trial subsequently. Mr MacDonald was found not guilty, but Ched Evans was found guilty and served 2.5 years in prison. He always maintained his innocence, even posting a video online saying so. And earlier this year, he had his conviction quashed and a retrial was ordered. And after 2 weeks, today we had a verdict. The jury unanimously declaring that he was not guilty. And a North Walian footballing family feeling that they had somehow had some redemption. Our Wales correspondent Sian Lloyd has the full details.
For more than 5 years, Ched Evans has maintained his innocence. Today, a jury at Cardiff Crown Court acquitted him of rape. He has cleared his name. The footballer was playing for Sheffield United when he was accused of raping a 19-year-old woman in a hotel room. His career with the club ended when he was convicted in April 2012. After serving half of his 5-year sentence, Ched Evans was released on licence. With his fiancée Natasha Massey by his side, he vowed to clear his name.
I made an incredibly foolish decision and failed those people who trusted and believed in me. Most of all, Tasha and our families.
In April this year, Ched Evans' conviction for rape was quashed in the Court of Appeal after new evidence came to light and a retrial was ordered. That trial began in Cardiff 2 weeks ago. The prosecution took the jury back to the early hours of May the 30th, 2011. Ched Evans had been drinking with friends in his hometown of Retrial. He returned to the room of fellow footballer Clayton MacDonald at the Premier Inn at Retrial on the North Wales coast. Mr MacDonald, who was cleared of rape at an earlier trial, was said to be having consensual sex with a young woman when Ched Evans let himself into the room. Prosecuting Simon Medland QC told the jury she was extremely drunk and didn't know what was happening. She couldn't have consented to sex with Ched Evans, he said. The footballer told the jury that he would never hurt a girl and that the young woman had agreed that he could join in. The court also heard from 2 witnesses who hadn't spoken before. Defending Judy Khan QC described them as important witnesses and claimed their evidence about how the woman behaved when they'd had sex with her completely undermined the prosecution case. She dismissed a suggestion by the prosecution barrister that they were lying for money. Ched Evans is now free to return to play at League One Chesterfield, where he's been signed since the summer. The battle to clear his name now over. Sian Lloyd, BBC News, Cardiff Crown Court.
As Sian mentioned in her piece there, key to this retrial was those 2 new witnesses who both say they had similar sexual experiences with the 19-year-old woman. They said the woman had acted much in the same way as Ched Evans described. So Ched Evans' defence had argued that if Ched Evans was lying, how was it that their account was so similar to his? Now, the jury of 7 women and 5 men took less than 3 hours to come up with a non-guilty verdict, and an emotional Ched Evans embraced his fiancée Natasha Massey, and there were tears from the family all around. And minutes later, after the verdict, his solicitor Sean Draycott gave this statement just outside the court here.
In the early hours of the 30th of May 2011, an incident occurred in North Wales that was to change my life and the lives of others forever. That incident did not involve the commission of a criminal offence, and today I am overwhelmed with relief that the jury agreed. I would like to thank my legal team, Judy Khan QC and David Emanuel of Garden Courts Chambers, London, and Sean Draycott of Draycott Brown Solicitors Manchester for their tireless efforts upon my behalf. Thanks go too to my friends and family, most notably my fiancée Natasha, who chose, perhaps incredibly, to support me in my darkest hour. Whilst my innocence has now been established, I wish to make it clear that I wholeheartedly apologise to anyone who might have been affected by the events of the night in question. Thank you very much indeed.
No further statements.
Well, in the last hour, Ched Evans' football club Chesterfield have given a statement. The chief executive, Chris Turner, has welcomed the news, saying, "We are naturally delighted with the outcome, especially for Ched, his family and his friends. We can now all move forward and focus on football." This story became a hugely emotive issue after the original trial. But today, for the family, for Ched Evans himself, after a 5-year battle, his nightmare is over and he can get on with rebuilding his footballing career and his life.
Thomas, thank you very much indeed. Thomas Morgan reporting there from Cardiff Crown Court.